Apple trees grown from seed are no longer cost-effective. Their initial yields are significantly smaller because of the time required for the tree to mature before it can produce a profitable number of apples. This has caused an influx in the use of dwarf apple trees. However, this often creates growing complications such as uprooting. In order to avoid this, it has become common practice in high-yielding orchards to provide a support system to the trees, often in the form of a trellis. In spindle methods, branches are grown vertically via thin scions. Scions are simply a trunk growing out of the supplied rootstock. Scions are grown from the rootstock with downward branches manipulated to hang in a downward fashion. The trunk is banded to multiple horizontal wires spanning the length of each row. These wires encourage vertical growth while at the same time providing structure for each tree on the row. Orchards that use this method of stability are often ones using more modern planting practices, such as a vertical axe, slender spindle, super spindle, tall spindle, V-trellis, Y-trellis, and other less common systems such as the biax, solax, and salsa methods. All of these techniques possess different advantages. However, potentially the most profitable is the tall spindle method. This is largely due to the spacing it uses between trees and in between individual rows. For instance, in a super spindle growing method, there is normally 3 feet between each row to accommodate the machinery necessary to support the harvesting and maintenance processes, whereas in the case of the tall spindle, there is only 2 feet between each row. Although initially only a single foot difference, by saving these feet, there is now land for more potential rows of fruit-producing trees. Ultimately, this would lead to a higher yield and profit. Another aspect these methods have in common is the use of a rootstock in place of growing from seed. Many apples do not come true to seed, meaning a Macintosh apple's seed will not produce a Macintosh tree, so more advanced breeding methods are necessary. Depending on the grafting technique chosen by the grower, rootstocks can produce large, traditional-looking apple trees, or, what is more commonly found in orchards, a true dwarf, which, at full maturity, will not exceed 10 feet tall. Grafting is achieved by taking a scion with leaf buds already present and inserting it into the rootstock where it is bound in place. The scion is what determines the apple's variety. In order to ensure the scion doesn't begin producing roots independent of the graft, the union of the rootstock and the scion occurs approximately 2 inches above the soil line. Because it is best to graft when the buds are just beginning to open, the majority of grafting begins in the spring. In any growing system, it is essential to keep each tree within their own allotted growing space. A significant amount of pruning at the time of planting is conducted in order to ensure the appropriate balance between the scion and root is achieved. However, the trees will continue to receive extensive pruning throughout their growth. Because the presence of large branches, anything greater than half the diameter of the scion, encourage the growth of a large tree, they are removed for space efficiency in a spindle system. This cut serves as a catalyst for the development of a new branch from an adventitious bud. Every tree in a spindle system will have, on average, 2 to 3 branches removed within a year. The new branches, along with the already present ones, are weighed down, either with rubber bands holding them in place or applied weight to each branch in order to encourage downward growth. This keeps the branch and its fruit within the tree's designated space, as opposed to allowing a branch to naturally grow parallel to the ground. The majority of apples are collected between late August and October, depending on the variety. In order to ensure that apples are picked at the appropriate time, growers check many of the apple's present characteristics, such as amount of sugar, firmness, seed, and skin color. If an apple is picked too early, it can possess a sour or almost starchy taste, whereas apples picked too late in the season may be too soft. Apples are best to pick when they are firm, have an enjoyable aroma, and lack skin breaks and bruises.